This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay.
You might want to call
Good
it.
evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Southampton Housing Authority meeting for November 14, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order. And open time for the public is how we always begin. I'm not seeing any public. I'm just seeing our shining members. Sans 1 or 2. Okay, but we do have a quorum. So let us proceed. We'll review and approve the previous minutes. Everyone have a chance to look at those? Well, Janet, you obviously had a chance to look at them.
It's been a while now.
Yeah.
Just finishing up looking at
My proofreader. How's my proofreader doing there?
Yeah.
AKA Sarah.
Members. That looks good. Okay. Yeah, I move to approve the minutes. No corrections.
Okay, I will second.
And that's the 10-3 and the other one. What are the other ones? Sorry.
Are we doing more than one?
I didn't know we were doing more than one.
Say that, Sarah. I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
10-3 and 9/21, the one from when we met with Shelley too.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought so we didn't do that. Didn't we do those in,
we didn't do 9/21 on 10-3? Oh, we did.
Maybe we did.
It would be in the minutes, I suppose, if we did.
Yes.
well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
So I don't track them so much by this meeting because they're,
Yeah, so you sent them on October 18th. They didn't.
okay.
I just know it's because my email was unopened. So I'm like, I definitely didn't open this till today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that said, I move to approve the 9/21 MHP SHA meeting minutes and also the 10-3 SHA minutes.
I did read them both.
Good.
Do we have a second?
I have a
Hi,
second
Joy.
for that. I have a second for that. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Joy, did you come in time to hear that what was put on the floor by Sierra? We're approving the minutes, previous minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So are you ready to vote?
Yes.
All those in favor, voice vote, please.
Simmons, aye.
Piper, aye.
K9.
Mancini, aye. It's unanimous. Lovely. All right. Greetings all. Property purchase update. So
Exciting time.
yeah, received an email from Ed today. Copy of the deed. A lot of things that I don't really understand because I'm not a real estate lawyer, but everything indicates that the town of Southampton is now the owner of the property at 354 College Highway, which I think is a significant achievement for this group. Well done, folks. Exactly. Applause, applause. Where's my little reactions here? If I can get this going. There we go. Well done. Well done. That's really exciting. I don't know. I didn't know if we'd ever get there. So that's great. We're on a roll. Credit to all you folks.
Did everybody get that email from Ed? I know I'm on it sometimes as a backup, but I don't know that did everybody get it, Jim?
Everybody didn't, and it's actually a good question because I occasionally I can be both paranoid about making sure I'm adhering to ethics and not communicating or discussing outside of a public meeting, but is forwarding an email discussing, or is that just sharing?
I think when we have a topic on the agenda and documents that are relevant to the agenda, it's not a
share.
to share.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will do that. I will share. Forwarding now.
Thank you.
So all can see.
So my name isn't on there. Because it would, for some reason, I was late to the meeting, for childcare reasons, but it wasn't supposed to be on the meeting agenda until later on, but I think they took it up like first thing in the meeting because they needed a notary and Lucy had to leave. So my name, that's why my signature is not on there, if you're wondering, because I wasn't there to have my name notarized.
Okay.
And I
So
can't
what-
remember my own name, so sorry.
No worries.
And no, and Ed didn't say anything to me about coming in to have to sign it, so I'm guessing they didn't need it, so.
All right, Sierra and Joy, I just forwarded it. A hand is raised. Janet, you have a question.
Yes, what's the next step?
That is a great question. I think the next step, in my opinion, is working. I think we have best chance to move forward with working with Habitat, especially in these challenging building times. It seems to me that they seemed most interested. They had this concern about this wetlands review or right away, but if they have any concerns, we can certainly bring in Concom to confirm what they told us during their meeting, etc. But that's my suggestion: is we let Habitat know that the property is purchased, and we'd like to explore options with them.
So I'm
That's
not
just my
sure
opinion.
I think a discussion with Ed would be helpful, but I don't know that we can just pick someone without going out with an RFP or an RFQ on the property. I
Yeah.
think that's a requirement. So I don't think we can say, let's do Habitat without going through an
Even
approval process.
though Habitat is a not-for-profit versus an RFP, I would think, if we were to say, okay, which contractor? But I don't know, because to me, Habitat's not a contractor. It's not. I don't know if that's an apples to apples kind of RFP.
So I guess I go back to my initial statement. I think you need to run it by Ed to see what the next step might be, because I mean, they are a contractor of sorts. And it is a piece of property that we are providing someone to build a house on. And I think that there are state regulations that may, and I could be wrong, but I just want to make sure that we follow them. Of course, Ed
Right.
wouldn't let us not follow it, but just to confirm with him what is our next step, I guess.
I think you raise a lot of good points, Janet. I don't claim any expertise here, so checking with Ed is a really good idea to get some guidance. And if he doesn't know, he can point us to someone.
Habitat would
I'm-
know too.
I'm sorry.
I would assume that Habitat would know too, whether you would need an RFP or RFQ, because they've done this, they did it in East Hampton.
Right, they do this all the time. So it's kind of a chicken and egg things, but maybe best to start with Ed, start in-house, start with our town. I think it's a really
I
good
would
idea.
keep it internal first before we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally.
That was only if Ed wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right, so as I will reach out to Ed as chair. I'll just email him and ask him about, share with him a little bit of our discussion here and see if I can't get his thoughts.
Good deal.
Very good deal. Let the process begin. I think another option, tell me what you think, but maybe will you continue to meet with MHP, or does that come to a close? Because they might have some suggestions also.
I do think we should talk to Ed before we go out.
Agreed. Yeah. But just another resource, to Joy's point, if Ed's not sure.
I think.
Okay.
I think he'll be sure.
I love your confidence in Ed. I don't want to publicly say here I have anything but confidence in Ed, but I'm just amazed that someone can keep so many different things in their head at once. So I will do it. I will follow up with Ed. Okay. Next agenda item. Housing Trust update. And there are some interesting updates. And
Yeah.
you
so
can't see me looking at you, Joy, but I am looking at you.
You're looking at something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the Brady Bunch here, but I'm looking down at you.
So the one that I sent is my most recent version because I sent one earlier in the morning to Ed and Francine and Chris. And then what you guys didn't see was me and Chris going back and forth about some language. And that's when I said, okay, maybe I'll make it a little more clear. And that's when I redid it. It's not completely different, but
Can you share the document, Joy, and tell us
yeah,
what the differences
absolutely.
are from the morning document? Because I also shared the morning document because
yeah, I
Right.
saw you did. Yeah.
And I saw
Yeah.
Joy's was sent a little bit later, and they are different in this 5B only or in other places.
5B only. That's the only
Okay.
place that was changed. Or from the only place that I've changed it. I know that
Okay.
the bylaw committee did their own prior to, so I just changed 5B on what bylaw had worked on.
But I did send the changes that I received to Shelley, and she was very comfortable with them. And then you made changes that I haven't shared with Shelley. So I need to
They're
know.
they're not super major. I just reworded some things, not reworded. I don't know. I'll show you.
And those were your words?
No, they are so the select board discussed having the trust kind of getting approval from the board, but still having the trust remain autonomous. So that's kind of really tricky language, right? To try to say the board can have approval, disapproval, because, you know, based on these being taxpayer dollars and the board's elected versus just having these appointed trustees who are spending taxpayer dollars. Let's have, you know, just some approval from the board saying, yes, we approve this project or disapprove it, but not allowing the trust to not move forward if the board disapproves.
But can you bring the document up, Joy? So
yeah, I am. I'm getting it up now. I'm trying to find the most recent version. I apologize. I'm trying to find, because this says 9/14/2022 version. Yeah. Let me get the most recent one.
Welcome, Daniel.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I tried to make it earlier, but then I realized I had another committee meeting.
Yeah, you're here.
So I made it. Yeah, I was very excited to hear the news about the trust. So that's huge.
Yeah, we're just going over the final version of the bylaw right now that was approved by the select board.
And there's no really good news until it passes town meeting. Right?
Okay, yeah, don't get too excited till yeah.
Did you guys receive the bylaw that I sent?
Yes.
We got the one
Yes.
at 11:30-ish.
Yeah, it is not showing up in my email at all. Let
Let me
me
see if I can call it up. It was sent to my Hotmail account. Not.
I don't know why it's
It's
not
a good thing I
showing.
was home today, which is
Okay, I
unusual
have
for
it.
The
me.
problem is if you type Jim into you have to type James to get your Gmail, right? So when people are typing, they're like, oh, I'll send it to Jim. They type Jim and then it automatically shows us your Hotmail. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
much more formal on this side, Sierra.
Yeah, we just need to start thinking of you as James.
Yes,
I just
very.
do JS and it comes up too.
Why can't I share? I should be able to share, right?
Yeah, I gave authority to share. Multiple shares. Let me just double check. I didn't click it off for some reason. No, multiple participants can share.
Later.
Well, if you can send it to one of us can try to share.
I'll bring it up. I
Yeah,
can,
I've
Okay,
got it
thank
too.
you. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not letting me share.
It's bizarre.
Wait. I
Wait
think I
for
got
it.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm making it large. Okay, there we go.
Yes, that's
We
better.
did the thing. Okay. This is the change. Right here.
but the change from the earlier one that we had received first. Yeah, so we have this change that everybody got, and then it
Okay, do
changed.
you want me to get the other one? Pull that one up too?
Well, is this the final one? And can you explain what is the difference between this one and the other one?
Yeah.
This one states the trust shall propose to the select board properties for purchase and the select board shall approve or disapprove the purchase. I think the previous one just said the select board shall approve or disapprove. So I guess there's really no difference. I just felt like this put it more in the trust has just more power. Does that make sense? Maybe it's just me
To me,
going.
I'm trying
it's
to
like
read
you're
it.
clarifying the process. So
Yeah.
the trust
Just-
comes to the select board.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
what you're saying is that the select board has the power to approve or disapprove and not unreasonably withhold, but that's it. They
Yeah.
don't have any other powers
Yes.
to
And there's no mechanism that we put in, it's vague about what happens if the select board disapproves, right? It doesn't say that the trust can't go forward.
So I guess I want to understand, because this one says that the trust shall propose to the select board properties. The other one, I don't think said the trust.
No,
shall-
it didn't say that. It said the select board shall approve or disapprove the purchase. That
That
was
sounds
it.
like we have to propose properties now to the select board instead of just the select board giving us a heads up or not. That's what I'm trying to clarify. The trust shall propose to the select board properties. The other one said
It said,
that
the select board shall approve or disapprove.
each purchase shall be approved, but it didn't say we had to propose anything to the select board. It just says the purchase shall be approved by the select board. So the newer one sounds like we have to go to them and propose something. As the old one says, each purchase shall be approved by the select board, which approval.
Yeah, I guess in my head, I was clarifying the process. But I see where your interpretation is coming. I understand the interpretation. You're just saying the thing about the purchase though would be it would already take place. So would it even matter if select board approves or disapproves?
But this says we have to propose the properties to the select board for purchase. So I guess I just
Say
want
prior to purchasing it, and it does, so maybe we should specify. I wonder.
Because I think it originally says select board shall approve or disapprove the purchase. So that sounds like the trust already purchases the property.
Joy, can you not share this one and I'll bring up the other one just for clarity, just so everybody sees.
I can pull it
You
up.
have
I
the
think
other
I have
one
it.
Okay.
if you do
great.
side by side, that'd be great.
Yeah,
'cause-
I'll do side by side. Hold on.
914 version, that one I think is much older.
That's
No,
a busy calendar right there.
Yeah, there you go. We don't want to see your calendar.
Oh, sorry, my calendar.
No, I'm-
Oh, this one's the old one. I'm sorry.
Okay, this one says the trust shall recommend to the select board properties for purchase.
Why is this old?
Oh, because that's the 914 one, but the one on the right is the 1114 one.
Let me pull up the one that
Yeah, that's not the one you sent.
no, it's under downloads, I think. Here we go. Sorry, I have like 3,000 versions of this.
Indeed. I don't know how you keep track.
just 3,000?
No. Okay,
There
to
we go.
purchase, to each purchase shall be approved by the select board. Yes, okay, here we go. Okay, can you guys see? I'm sorry that it's dark. I don't know how to
That's
change it.
okay. It's okay. Whoa.
Okay.
Here we go.
And this is not the version we want.
The one on the right.
Right, the one on the right says recommend, so that's not it. Okay.
Hold on, sorry, I gotta make this smaller. Okay, there we go. Here we go, guys.
Okay, side by side.
Side by side.
Side by, oh no, sorry.
Okay, so this is each purchase shall be approved by the select board, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld. So that makes it sound like the purchase has already happened.
I think it's hard to say if it's unclear whether or not the purchase has already happened. I feel like maybe you should specify that.
But I'm not sure that if we propose to the select board properties for purchase, just means we have to go to them way in advance to propose it. And then wait and delay. And so I just want to make sure we're not building in delays. Because I mean, Shelley was so comfortable with this language.
Yeah.
That I'm just trying to understand the benefit of the new language, Joy. And that's.
Well, now to me, I wasn't clear with what actually was happening. What was each purchase shall be approved by the select board. It sounds like we already purchased it. When I was looking it over.
It has to be approved by the select board, but we can move ahead anyway, right? Because they have to explain it in open meeting. Is there anything in the new one that it says if they disapprove a purchase, it has to be, and I can't read the whole thing. It has to be.
I said a proposed purchase, they shall provide an explanation for its disapproval. Also,
not in open meeting. There's nothing about it in.
I can put in open. I mean, we can put in open meeting. I didn't include in here. So also this was the first version was me just kind of riffing off my head, unreasonably withheld, because I was going based off language that John Lumber provided that the school committee uses in regards to the superintendent hiring a business administrator, which John Lumber was comfortable with that language. Then Chris brought up more of the language. She was like, are you sure this is exactly what is it in the school committee did? So I went back and I was like, well, it's not exactly what school committee does. So I tailored the second version to exactly what the school committee does in regards to superintendent hiring a business administrator. And I know I'm comparing apples to oranges, but I was trying to this second version use as close to language as the school committee was using, because I knew members of the board were comfortable with that language.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened at the select board meeting? So could you help us to understand that needed?
So the select board wants there to be a mechanism. They don't want to completely take away the autonomy, obviously, of the trust. And it's not the select board trying to run the trust, but I think there was just kind of like a checks and balance, because we are going from where it's very difficult to purchase property and going through CPA, and it's very hard, to the complete opposite, where this trust that's just appointed by people can use taxpayer money to just buy property. Right. And that's a big deal. So
it's appointed by the select board. It's not just appointed by people.
Yes, appointed by 5 people in the town that were elected, but there's not a lot of town say beyond that, right? The town isn't voting on the properties. They're not saying, yeah, you're not going to the town meeting to use their taxpayer dollars to do whatnot. The only vote that has to go to town meeting is the CPA funds to the trust, right? So then the people that do get appointed by the 5 people on the select board now have free reign to spend the money as they want. And that could be up to like $500,000, whatever the amount is, at least $100,000 of taxpayer money. So trying not to take away the power from them, but just having a second, instead of going all the way to town meeting, having the select board go, yep, we support this. Having a formal vote of the select board supporting it.
But if they don't support it, does the trust have the right to move forward anyway?
And that's where it was kind of vague. So that's where we got into the comparison with the school committee.
I mean, hiring a business manager and buying property for affordable housing with a group of trustees seems like very, like you said, apples and oranges. So I'm trying to.
We were just comparing what language could be used to have. So superintendent has the autonomy, and they end up being the head of that department. that's their responsibility who they hire. But if a school committee really doesn't like the business administrator, it's just putting in writing, this is why we don't support it, and this is why we're not supporting the hiring. And here it is in writing, maybe as a catch-all for down the road if things go sour. To me, that's my take on what that is. This is the formal saying of, we don't approve of this. You do what you need to do, but we're putting in writing we don't approve it.
So it's kind of like the dissent at the Supreme Court. So I think if the purpose is not to, I think whether it's before or after the purchase is made, I think that needs to be really clear in this language. So are they, if they disapprove, may the trust still go ahead and purchase it? I think that needs to be explicit. Otherwise it's too vague.
Because it says each purchase shall be approved by the select board. So it's not like they don't approve it, but if they don't, but if they don't approve it, then the trust has no real true authority without having to get authority from the select board.
But I think that it also does matter to have the vote before a purchase, because that may, trustees may not want to move forward if they don't believe the select board or the town in general is not behind them on purchasing a property.
But isn't their job to purchase a property and to make those decisions?
So I think we have two issues here. It's the timing and it's and where the authority lies, and whether the authority should have a check and balance by an elected body. And for me, I the select board meets frequently, right? So just this purchase of the 354 College Highway, right? When you buy a house, whatever, you put in a bid, you say, this is what I'm willing to pay. And that kind of locks it in, and the select board meets every 2 weeks?
Yes. More if needed, but yes.
Right. So to me, the select board could, in a reasonable time, meet to confirm the intended purchase, and you're not going to lose the property, I would think.
Yeah.
So the trust can go ahead and make an offer on a property without going to the select board.
Correct. They're making an offer.
Now I'm asking, is that what the language tells us?
No, it's vague. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly how far we want to take it in regards to the timeline. I'm happy to add more. I left it vague on purpose because I think that,
I don't know, to me,
get away with more sometimes with less.
You can, but it also leaves it open to a lot of interpretation and potential issues.
Yeah.
When it's vague, look at the discussion we're having here tonight based on the vagueness. I'd rather have it be more, and then we can discuss, various perspectives on whether, the select board should have that essentially veto power or not.
So this phrase,
Well, a veto completely stops it.
Yeah.
Doesn't? Yeah. Right.
Right.
So, but B is what the lawyer sent back to us?
No. This is in addition to what select board wanted to go forward with.
Okay, so this has not gone through legal. This particular paragraph will not go through legal. So
yeah.
So who wrote the original paragraph? Did you
this
write?
One on the left?
Yes,
I did. And then this one on the right is closer to what is proposed. What is proposed in the school committee.
But none of them are based on an existing housing trust, for example, MHP input or.
Well, the first one had MHP input, and Shelley was very positive about B.
This one on the left?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I sent her that language. She said, that's really good. I might have to use it for as an examples in the future. She was very positive about it. I copied Sierra on it. I couldn't copy all three of us, obviously, for open meeting law issues.
Yeah.
So, So I don't know whether, so I guess my question, Joy, is if we leave the original, is this not what the select board has voted to do?
I think the select board would be okay. Because honestly, I had to go back and read the school committee thing. It was very confusing. And that's why this is confusing, because I didn't really understand it the first time. And the portion was, the context of it is important. The entire context of that, of the whole rule that he gave me, instead of just the highlighted part. But there is steps in there. And I didn't list the steps in here, if that makes sense. So I think it's important. It doesn't have to be the steps on the right, but I think that it's important for there to be some kind of steps, whether it's go ahead, trust, make a bid on whatever property you want. But we're not going to halt you, stop you from doing that. But at some point, can you come to select board and just let us know, what's going on, and we can give you approval or disapproval. We're not going to stop you. We don't have the power to stop you, but just here we approve it or we disapprove it for the record and for the sake of the town.
And that doesn't mean that the trust couldn't change their mind based on the input from the select board.
Exactly. And if they did change their mind based on what maybe they're not privy to information the select board has. I don't know. I don't know if the trust is going to be reviewing the master plan. I think that was also it. Is the trust going to be reviewing the master plan when they're purchasing the properties? Are they going to be looking? Are there other things going on in town that they aren't aware of in regards to properties that maybe the select board is? That's why we have liaison reports. So just coming, what if they find out something about a property that another group is going after for whatever reason, and they find out at select board and that's why they disapprove it? Is the trust going to go back and rescind their bid for the property?
So isn't one of the languages of the trust, one of the members, a member of the select board? One of the 5 members of the trust is a member of the select board. So,
true.
I mean, I guess
I'm not qualified to know everything that's going on with everything in town.
What if it said something like,
I'm just not. I don't know what's going on with the senior center. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things going on. I don't know what's going on with the Public Safety Committee. They have like 3 different properties that they're looking at, or 4 different properties and different. I get them in the reports, but I'm not as intimately knowledgeable of them.
But the liaison from the select board that reports, that serves on those 2 committees is.
Yes. I think it's.
So I guess I'm just proposed to the select board properties for purchase. So it just seems like it's so much.
I'm also just kind of following with the status quo. The senior center, the public safety committee, if they're purchasing properties, those are things that are coming forward to the select board. I don't know of any committee that is going out there with with taxpayer monies and buying properties without anyone telling the select board or the town what's going on.
Well, and my question to you, Joy, is not only telling, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I want the trust to be able to act, but I don't think they should act without the select board's the ultimate authority. They're the elected officials of the town. And I would be surprised if any committee is out there purchasing things, never mind telling the select board, without the select board's approval.
So can I ask a question then as a result? So people from community preservation, so they approve monies to go to a group, but they don't go to the select board and say, can we approve that? This is money that's designated for affordable housing, strictly for affordable housing. The senior center, the public safety, we are going to go to the voters at some point in time in the future and say, we need more money. This is money that we have basically that's been designated for affordable housing. So I don't see those as an apple to apples comparison. I mean, I understand each member of the select board can't know everything that's going on, and that's why we designate a member of the select board to be on this trust. So, I mean, I think both languages involve the select board. I'm not saying that we should ignore the select board. This one says, you know, each purchase shall be approved by the select board. Okay, which approval shall not be unreasonably be withheld. So to me, it's not saying that they're not involved. We're not saying let's not involve the select board. They are. It's just at what level and at what point in the process, I
Mhm.
guess. So
Well,
just
and,
try-
And I
and
know-
for me, what does involved mean? You know,
Yeah.
so we notify them, or they have to approve.
each purchase shall be approved by the select board, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld.
Right, but I'm hearing, maybe I'm not hearing it correctly, but earlier I'm hearing like approval is just we as a body approve this or we don't. But if as a select board, as a body, we don't approve it, that's not going to stop the purchase. And to me, disapproval means it does stop the purchase. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So I think that's also, Chris and I got into the language barrier. That's why, yeah, the language. So shall is a very weak term. It is not a must.
That's
Right.
correct.
Yeah. So like legally, we don't even try to use shall anymore because it is like, what does that even mean? So yeah, I was like, do you want me to change it to must? And she's like, no, definitely don't change it to must, because then it feels like you're really taking away the autonomy of the trust.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'll leave it as shall, but maybe I'll just clarify, you know, the process a little bit better in the second version. And go ahead.
Go ahead, Joy. No, sorry, my apologies.
I just want to go back to like what Janet, what you were saying. You mentioned the CPA funds and then going back to the voters for more money. I think the whole point is the trust, once the CPA designates these funds to the trust, it still has to go to the voters for them to vote for it to go to the trust. Like at some point, there's always the voters. And then at some point, there won't be any voter say. Yes, these people are appointed by the select board, but then that's it. They can use the funds for whatever. And this is just the check for, you know, as the voice, the select board is the voice of the people of the community, and we're able to approve or disapprove. I think it's just trying to give the voters a little voice over what these funds are being used for, since it's not going to town meeting again, ever.
But we did approve once to go to CPA funds to go to a trust. And maybe somebody makes a donation that's not tax money anymore, right? And somebody donate an estate, $1 million to the Affordable House Trust. So now we're going to have multiple bodies determine how the trust can use those funds when the town has already voted to, yes, we'll transfer this money to the trust for affordable housing. So I guess, you know.
I mean, I don't know if the select board is really the determining factor, to be honest, in this B. I think the shall is a weak shall. I think it is
and
really,
that's fine. I don't mind the first one. And I think that, you know, it gives them an opportunity to voice their opinions and concerns in open meeting. And I think most committees would take that and go back and reconsider if there was a negative vote. I mean,
yeah.
but it gives them the authority to say, well, we're going to move ahead anyway. And I guess I'm not sure the difference between the two documents.
I think this just laid out a process. The trust shall propose to select board properties for purchase versus each purchase shall be approved. So this just already says there's a purchase going forward. You guys can say yay or nay, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, I think maybe if we go to this, if a trust goes to the select board, their opinion typically does matter. But it doesn't mean it's the final decision, because the money's already been approved by the town to go to the trustees. And other donations may have come in that weren't CPA funds. So I don't know.
So the way
I
I'm
think
reading
it's
this,
really hard because we're also trying to hypothesize how a trust is in town that we've never had before and who's on this trust. We have no idea, and how they're going to actually really function. And I mean, there's a lack of trust in the trust, right? Because we don't know what it's actually going to look like. And it's a lot of taxpayer money that they're going to have control over.
Designated for affordable housing.
Yeah. Yes, it's designated for affordable housing.
Specifically for affordable housing. So it's, I mean, when we say a lot of taxpayers' money, yes, CPA funds have been designated for affordable housing, which we have been less than successful. But if we give a trust and people can make donations other than through CPA funds and build the trust,
Absolutely.
then it's not all taxpayers' money necessarily, but it's
No.
already been approved at a town meeting to move it to the trust. I mean, if they vote down moving it to the trust, then I guess the trust is kind of defunct, so.
well, I'm just having trouble the idea of, I hear everything you're saying, Janet, that the money's been moved to the trust and approved. But now we're buying property with it, specific property. And 5 non-elected members of the town are going to make that decision without any check and balance by any sort of
I don't think
democratic
without
input.
any, I mean, we do go to the select board in both situations, right?
Well, it says shall. Maybe we don't. Maybe if we got a rogue trust that's not getting along with the select board, maybe they don't. And there's nothing here to make them.
If we get
so-
an anti-affordable housing select board, then we're locked out.
Fair. But the trust, I can't believe I'm saying this, the select board is elected and the trust is not. So if we have an anti-affordable housing select board that in theory represents the people.
Well, okay, the issue is not that they're going to spend the money on something other than affordable housing. I think the issue is that they might make an unwise investment. And so it really, it benefits everyone. I don't see a select board saying, no, affordable housing trust, you can't spend your affordable housing trust on affordable housing. They might say, no, I know something about that property. It's no good. It's a money pit. Don't do it.
Yeah, which also did come up later on in the meeting under also that's the board the trust, we mean trust, okay. To hold all or part of the trust property uninvested for such purposes and for such time as the board may deem appropriate. So that was kind of worrying for one of the board members. They were like holding trust property uninvested. How long, like, don't we want to put a time limit on that? We're just gonna like leave land not invested off the taxpayer roll. So that was concerning for them, but I think that goes to just kind of a check and balance in purchasing properties, making sure that like, well, select board already signed off on purchasing this property. So, I don't know.
So
it's a complicated
it
bylaw.
is, and it's interesting. So it's you said, Joy, it's new to us and we're figuring, and that's true, but a housing trust is not new to the Commonwealth. It's interesting that MHP, Shelley didn't have any input like, oh, it's got to be this way. Maybe it's never been an issue. I don't know, but
That's not true, Jim, because Shelley said you want to not give a select board. You want them involved, but not
Too involved.
okay.
I mean,
That's
she was
interesting
very clear,
clarification.
Yeah, she said
I don't-
basically her advice has been be careful about limiting the powers of the trust.
Okay. That's interesting. All right. That's very,
And I
very,
don't want to limit the powers of the trust, but I do want to give the town a bylaw they can swallow.
Right, and will it be more likely to pass if they know, but they're not gonna tell they're not gonna be like, oh, it just says shall. I think the shall version will give the town enough comfort in the idea that the select board gets to opine and advise on the property.
well, I think if we're going to get in that level of detail, Sarah, I agree with you, but I would say that, the trust must propose to the select board and the select board shall approve or disapprove. In other words, if we want to make sure that there's some kind of public vetting of this purchase, right, then the word should be must.
Do you think it should be must?
The first shall should be must. The second shall can remain shall to leave the authority ultimately with the trust, which is Shelley's input.
Yeah, no, and she approved this paragraph that's on the left
Mm-hmm.
because of the kind of not. She just said it was good language. She liked the
How
language.
soon does this need to be finalized and put forth to be on the?
Yesterday.
We don't have time to like call Shelley, be like, Shelley,
Yeah.
No, I mean, by the next meeting. And actually, I don't know if bylaw committees has to review it either for again.
Right, because if we don't get this to the next town meeting, then we're looking at spring, right?
Oh,
Oh,
it's going to this town meeting. Like
it's gone.
it's gone. It's gone. It's happening. Like we need to make decisions. And I apologize for muddying the waters. I really do.
Well, I don't see it as muddying. I think you've raised some good issues.
Looking for my town, Southampton. Okay, I was looking to see I don't know, Janet, do you know if bylaw committee is meeting? Oh yeah, they are in 2 days. So yeah, we
have to. If they have to meet, they'll meet Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we going to ask them to pick between?
Well, we already know Chris said there should be no must. There shall be no must.
Yeah.
I like the shall.
Right. And all right. So my concerns, I just check and balance people's voice kind of perspective, but we have both MHP and our own chair of the select board saying shall rather than must. So.
But this also hasn't been reviewed by other boards. I mean, other board members. I haven't gotten their opinion. This isn't the exact language of the school committee one. And there was one board member who did not vote to approve the purchase of the property on College Highway. So I am trying to make it a pill that everyone can swallow, but maybe that's not going to happen.
But that person typically doesn't always approve things without discussion. So
yeah,
there's no
not a bad
discussion
thing.
on why it wasn't approved. It just was a no vote or whatever. But
Weird. Wish I knew more about that.
watch a few more meetings here. Yeah.
I guess I could watch it.
I think the location of the house has something to do with it, the property.
I don't know. So there was no discussion in the meeting as to why that was a no vote. So we can't make any assumptions at this point, but
It's speculation.
so we have 5 board members. So are we designing this for 1 board member or are we designing this for 5 board members? I guess is my question. Joy.
Sounds like a loaded
I'm
question.
sorry. I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm rereading it like 3 times.
Yeah, no. I guess are we designing the newer version versus the more, the other version because
I think if you guys are more comfortable with this one on the left one, then we should work from that.
And the difference between the two, really?
This makes it sound like the board has to go to the select board to propose the property that they want to purchase and approve or disapprove it. This says each purchase shall be approved by the select board. Who knows what that means?
And it also doesn't, the other one doesn't say that the select board has to at an
It's
open
he explained
meeting,
it, though.
explain why they
Yeah.
don't approve the purchase. which
Well,
I
it
think
does
is
say
important.
they shall provide an explanation for its disapproval.
Right, we can always add that if you like that better. Personally, I think the first version is better because at this late juncture, we got our MHP partner to say that's amazing, that's awesome. I was ready before seeing this newer version to say, all right, cool. Like if that's what makes them happy, let's vote for it. So if this other version has caused so much concern, I think we should go with the one that was already approved-ish.
So this goes back to the select board again, because doesn't meet for 2 weeks. So that's kind of past the date that, how did the
22nd, meet for the 22nd.
but the warrants and stuff, what's the timing with that and how
Oh,
did it?
that's when we have to that's when we vote on everything. Cause we still haven't there's still outstanding things that need to go in the warrant.
So how was this left? I guess I didn't see this ending part of the select board meeting. So what was the agreement to add something I mean, was there a vote by the select board to add something? And what was
Yes.
the something they agreed they voted to add?
To this bylaw?
Yeah.
Yes, they wanted 5B to add this language, to add specifically the language from the school committee meeting.
And that was voted on by the
Meeting,
select
sorry,
board.
the school committee language from their, I don't know if it's a bylaw.
So which one is that? So this is the one.
That's the second one. That is closer to the second one. The first one is more of my interpretation.
So the select board in total voted to add more the language on the right than on the left.
In total,
But they were looking at it at the time and decided.
we didn't know what the language was. I didn't know what the language was. John mentioned similar language that I said unreasonably cannot approve or disapprove or without unreasonably withholding. And he was like, oh, we have language similar to that. I'll send it to you. I reviewed it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of tailor it to what I want. And then I had that discussion with Chris about the shall and like, is this the language that John used? And I was like, okay, well then I'll make another version of exactly that's closer to what John used, but not necessarily, the board did not see all of John's language. I had to send it to the chair to kind of show her what John had sent me. So,
so does the select board go back and say, I approve either A or I approve B?
I think the goal is just to present them one version.
Yeah.
And they approve it or they don't.
So would it be a bad idea to present them two versions and say, we weren't sure which one of these you would like better?
I think honestly that we should draft it however we want to draft it, because then it's going to go to the bylaw review committee and they're going to do whatever they want with it. And then it's going to go to select board and that will be the final. So I think we have the fundamental language. Approve, disapprove, do not unreasonably withhold, and reasoning needs to be explained. That's the foundation. Anything that else is just, frosting for us. Let's make it how we want it to say, because who knows what's going to what bylaw is going to do with it. At least we have what we want in there.
So Joy, can I put you on the spot and say, take off your select board hat and which version do you prefer? Or we can just vote.
The first one, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I just wanted to get an understanding of, I know, and thank you very much for drafting these. I mean, I as a member, this is not easy stuff to do, and thank you for.
I know, I'm sorry I wasn't able to do it over the weekend, but 11th hour editing, and this is where it gets me. I think the first one is the better one to work with, to be honest. Should have stuck with the first one.
Approve the first version.
Shall we make, I'd like to make a motion to accept the version on the left.
Seconded.
which is the first version, the
Yes, which was
MHP
the-
approved
No.
version.
Yes, no specifying.
The MHP approved version.
Well, the only one that I had to send to them, that's, I never sent the second one to them in fairness.
Right.
We got it later this afternoon and
I
at
see.
that point, I thought we should discuss it before we.
Yeah.
So a motion and a
A
second.
motion and seconded. Okay. All in favor of approving the one on the left for moving forward?
Simmons,
By
aye.
voice vote. Simmons, aye.
Piper, I.
Kane, I.
Sini, aye.
Right.
All
All
right.
right, guys. We'll see what comes back.
Yeah.
The ringer again.
If it comes back changed, then it comes back changed, but I mean.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for your thoughtful considerations. It's good to know there's people who are thinking about these things and what's going to work best.
Yeah, I moved on this, so it was a worthy discussion. So thanks. Agreed.
Yes.
Um,
I don't miss being a drafting attorney. I'll tell you that.
That's right now.
Send me to the courtroom any day.
okay, so new member recruitment. State rep
Hey,
input.
there's a new member here.
Yeah,
New potential member.
new potential member. Yes, what I was going to try. I don't have any information on the whole. I didn't hear back on the. Ed was going to explore the state, appointment role and et cetera. So I'm going to follow up with that on that. I don't have any new information, unfortunately.
So that was the question of, is there a state appointed slot open? Is someone in it? And can we appoint someone before the state says anything about it or responds? Is that the question?
No, I think the question is, how long of a period does the state and how does that appointment take place?
Okay.
But to your point, I could also ask, does there have to be a state appointment on the board? Is that what you're saying? Is the fifth member, or can it be through election?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do remember what the process was. You fill out a town volunteer form, which you probably already have, and you submit your resume and the letter to the state contacts, which are listed on the website. And then they never respond to you. The end.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to me. And then I got elected instead. So I guess the question is, how do we make that process go differently this time? Will it?
Mm-hmm.
Can I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so Sierra, so you, from your experience, I'm hearing that you also have questions about the process, like maybe what you did was not correct and that's why you didn't hear, or?
I think it was correct, but like, is there someone we can call who can call those guys and be like, hey, what's the deal? Why didn't you? Do we have any pull that can make this actually happen faster? Or was that it, you just send it, you don't hear a response and there's nothing you can do about it?
Okay.
But I also like the question of, can everyone be elected and have no state appointed person? I think that's also a good question.
Is that required? That's good.
All right.
Dan, you came in on probably our most
Others.
contentious meeting I've ever attended.
This is great. I mean, it's great to see how much passion you all have for this issue that is so important. So thank you. I feel lucky to be at this meeting to hear y'all speak. So yeah, if you don't know me, I'm Dan LaValle. I live in Southampton. Just kidding.
Kidding.
Hi, Dan.
Someone had mentioned that there was a potential opening on this committee, and by being a member of the planning board and the process we had gone through with that and your committee in some of our joint meetings, I would like to be able to contribute to this cause. So if it's possible, I would like to try to attempt to join somehow, if that is a thing.
That'd be great.
Thank you. for
Absolutely
setting-
fabulous. We'd love it.
Imagine that, a full board of 5 people. Can you imagine?
No, because it's never
Excited with
happened.
4. We're excited with 4, right? So
We're really
Yeah.
excited with the 4.
Well, I remember talking to you this summer, Jim, about this. You were,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's been a long time that you guys have been looking. Yeah.
I
So,
do want to add Dan's good luck. He was instrumental in getting the wetlands bylaw passed.
thank you. Yeah. When things matter, I will stand up for them.
Awesome.
He also said he'll be the first to donate to the trust.
I would love to be the first to
That's
donate.
right.
I think that's a great honor.
That's right.
That's amazing.
your first million, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I mean,
go.
Any
Wouldn't that be
amount,
great?
$5, and we'll put it on a plaque.
Mhm.
no, don't put a plaque.
Because someone's
Put
got to
in
be first,
the, in
Dan.
the thing.
Only if
In
the select board
the.
approves the plaque.
So yeah, I guess just let me know what I need to do in terms of process, or do you guys need to
Well,
vote to determine if you want to make me a member first before I?
Well, that's a good
Different than
question.
Other boards.
hmm.
Well, you have to
I'm
put in a
sorry.
volunteer application too, Dan.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Right. Because he can either be appointed by the state or he can basically receive a temporary appointment, right? Until the next election. Is that how it works?
That's how it
Somebody
works
help
for
me.
me. I have no idea how that works, but that is what happened to me.
And we know, Dan, you've taken all the ethics trainings and things like that, so you don't have to worry about that piece.
Oh, I'm very ethical. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. I guess everybody thinks they're ethical. I don't know.
So, is that another question for me to ask Ed? Like, what's the process to get a new member on quickly?
Well, he
So-
definitely has to come to fill out a volunteer application. The question is, can we fill in the state with someone that volunteers in the town?
Right, because there's a means, and Sierra is an example of it, of quote volunteer entering the board on the volunteer app and not being on the state.
I feel like Lucy knew stuff about that. I feel like she's the one who told me how it was working. So maybe she would be also a good person to ask.
We're not
Okay.
working.
Hmm?
We're not working.
And I think it's also a good idea to have a representative from the planning board too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's-
So
Heck yeah.
We enjoyed your input for the housing production plan from the planning
Mhm.
board.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, we've
Absolutely.
only just begun, right? There's a lot more work to be done. So
Fantastic. All right. Any item, next agenda item is any item that cannot wait until the next meeting. After our vigorous and stimulating discussion tonight. Hearing nothing, I propose that we schedule our next meeting.
Oh, I gotta get my. Oh, it's right here.
Does this group meet every other week or every month?
Monthly, we
Monthly.
moved it to the second Monday, I think, to accommodate.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Of course. We have a member
December 12th.
that's, yeah, December 12th is what I have. And that works for me. We'll accommodate. It's just as the board grows, right? We have 5, I hope we can accommodate all of us now. Maybe we'll all have too many obligations and we won't be able to find a common meeting time. That's a problem you want to have.
Mention
Right?
this, but we should be thinking about it. I know I definitely will be speaking, but if anyone else wants to speak at the town meeting in regards to the housing trust.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, yes, yeah. I did ask Virginia, who said that she would try to. There's something about, I don't know, her timing.
And Sarah, thank you for posting it on the community page.
Yes, no problem. Yes, please help share, send. I think you guys all got my email about that. So thank you all for supporting my
But I
Facebook
do
post.
think we have to write up some kind of blurb for the town warrant of some sort.
Okay, so we're moving back into the meeting, which is fine.
Well,
There's some-
we got any
Any
items
item that cannot wait until the next meeting.
Sorry,
So
sorry, I didn't mean to.
no,
backtrack.
we
I just
we
wanted to get that out there.
right.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you did, because there's things we need to discuss that we did not, and almost ended the meeting. So
We're meeting on November 30th with MHP, our final meeting before, I think, the town meeting too, to kind of also review some of that stuff, so.
Yeah.
And I think the flyer will be in the senior scoop for December, so hopefully we'll get
Mhm.
their thoughts out of it.
And they're drafting a press release for us that we're gonna work through. So that's pretty much it, just some promo efforts, but we'll let you know if there's any like actions that need to be taken.
But Sarah, can you speak at the meeting too, at the town
Yeah.
meeting?
Sure, I can if I'm needed. Absolutely.
Because somebody's gonna have to probably take the lead, and I don't know if, when Joy said she would speak to it, I don't know if that's what she was volunteering to do that. Because, you know, when there's a warrant or an article, somebody says, who will speak on behalf of this?
Oh yeah, I do think that should be Joy because she's on the select board and the housing authority. And so she can speak to the select board's approval, but I'm happy to be there. If people start talking smack and need to be shut down, I will very happily come up
And
there.
that's something we're gonna talk at the next MHP meeting too,
Yeah.
was talking points.
well, right. We want to be able to, if people have questions or even oppose, we want to be able to clarify and educate.
Mm.
And take their input. So Joy, that's fine for you as a member of the select board to also take the lead on this. I've seen that happen before, I think. So it's not something the select members are forbidden to do.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. And Sierra, you have a lot of familiarity with this, obviously, so it's good for you to be the first line of clarification. But all of us can pretty much speak as needed.
Yeah.
Because there is a town hall rule, right? You can only speak twice unless the the moderator allows it.
Right, so we'll take
correct?
turns letting them have it.
I believe if you're clarifying a misstatement, you can speak. So you get 2 turns, or if you're correcting a fact
Right.
that was misspoken.
Right. Well, we're obviously, joking aside, we're going to approach this positively because this is something that the town, they already approved the creation of the trust at town meeting. So there's always a possibility of opposition. You can't predict what's in people's heads. But if there is, I think we want to help people understand and hopefully clarify so they no longer oppose. But maybe I'm naive. I'm surprised if there'd be a lot of opposition given that it's already been approved.
It hasn't already been approved, has it?
No. The creation.
We approved purchasing of the property, but I don't think we've had
Right.
it.
We approved purchasing the property. And so to me, when you approve the purchase of the property, and it was by a wide margin,
Right.
you're probably going to approve a trust.
Which doesn't.
Maybe it's a stretch.
Yeah, only because it then doesn't have to go each time to the town meeting.
Right.
So that's.
Right. So there could be some understandable opposition. So I'll stop talking.
Let's hope not. Let's hope
Yeah.
not. I'm supporting your theory, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know how theories are. So any other unfinished business and we have a 6th member now. That's great. Got to be a voting age. I'm sorry.
Well, it's good for me.
I'm sorry, Sierra.
12th December still works for me.
Yeah,
Did we
that
come
works.
up with
6 o'clock, December 12th.
Sounds good.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Then Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, by voice vote, please.
Bye.
Piper, aye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, CDI, it's a unanimous.
All right.
Night.
Don't
Yeah,
forget to
we-
hit the unrecord or stop.